Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on how we can actually perform ETL and also data analysis. So right now we do have a fictional company, 𝗨𝘀𝗃 Production Berhad, and we have a sales report whereby we do have the grouping sales, the sales group and the sales description, and we have the monthly sales from the month of January up to June. So basically what I need to do is I have a work assignment whereby my manager give me a work whereby I need to calculate the monthly sales report for each revenue grouping and also include the month-on-month trending and cumulative sales. Moreover, I also need to actually show the sales allocation for each revenue group, because if you look over here, we do have the monthly sales. So my manager want to see what is the performance, is it year-on-year increase or month-on-month increase, cumulative sales, and also what is the allocation, because he wants to derive actually which group has the highest apportionment or highest allocation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Power Query, because this topic is about ETL and data analysis. So I need to go to data, get data from file, Excel workbook. Why? Because the sales report is in the form of Excel workbook. So I'm going to click it over here. So once I click over here, you will notice that a box will appear. So the box will ask me which file you want to choose. So basically, if just say you save in downloads, you need to go to your downloads. If you save in your documents, you need to go to your documents. So I save in the documents. I'm going to click it over here and I'm going to press import. Once I press import, you will notice that a box will appear. So in this box, what we need to do is we need to actually select a particular worksheet, because if you see here, this worksheet name is sales. It can be sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So over here, we do have sales. So I click this sales, and then what I'll do is I'll press transform. So what is cancel, transform, and load? Cancel means if they say sire accidentally, that means when you accidentally choose the file, you can cancel. If they say you press load, automatically it will load as a table format. And when you press load to, well, it will actually try to choose, you can give an option whereby to load as a pivot table, pivot chart, or only create connection. And it's depending on the version of Excel used, because if you are using the old version, you can either load as a table or only create connection. But in this case, I will choose transform data because I need to clean the data. So I'll choose transform data. So once I choose transform data, you will notice that we will be navigated to Power Query Editor. So we need to do some cleaning. So for example, like this column is not necessary. So I'm going to press here, right click and remove. So the first column has been removed. And then if you notice over here, we do have here null, null, null. So what I can do is I can actually remove the blank rows. So under the remove row, I can actually remove the blank row. So blank row means it is showing the entire row that has null. So I'm going to click it here. So whatever that has null has been removed. So right now we do have this data over here. So what I want to do is I actually want to fill down. So I'm going to press here, right click, and I want to fill down. So I'm going to press fill and down. So once I press fill down, so automatically the data will fill down. The next step is I want to promote the first row as the header. So I'm going to go here, use first row as header, or you can actually go under here, so you can transform, use first row as header. Then what you will notice is first row will become as the header. And then what we'll do next is we don't want the total, we don't want the null. So I'm just going to click here, unselect the null, and also unselect the total, and then I press OK. And after that, this is the data. So I'm going to select the first two column, right click, and then I want to unpivot other column. So in this case, the other columns, respective columns will be transposed into two different columns, whereby one column is attribute, one column is value. So here we have the months. So I'm going to put here the revenue group. And then over here is the description or the revenue details. And then over here is the months. And then here is the value. So I'll just change the format and you can choose either decimal number, currency, or whole number. So I'll just put it over here. So now this is our sales report. We have already cleaned it, because initially, if you notice, this is our report, the original data source. But then when I do data cleaning, it will actually transform and transpose accordingly. So I need to just go to home and click close and load. By clicking close and load, it will load as a table format in a new worksheet. So now we do have this data. But if you notice carefully, what my manager wants is, my manager wants the monthly sales report and sales allocation. So basically, I need to produce a pivot table. What you can do is, you can just press here, right click, and then you can actually press load to. So you don't have to load as a table, so you can actually load to. So in this case, I'll choose pivot table and I press existing worksheet, OK, and OK. So once I press OK, so now this is the pivot table. So what my manager wants is he wants the months and he wants the values. So now we have this reporting over here. I just need to just format the data, right click and number format. When I press format cells, it will format the specific cell. So when I press number format, it will format the entire data. So I'm going to click number format and I'm going to choose accounting, and it's up to you. So in this case, I don't want the decimal place and I don't want the symbol, and I press OK. So now we do have the monthly report. So we can see, okay, what is the total sales? The total is 78 million. And we notice, okay, like there's a decrease, increase, decrease, increase, and so on. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put downwards. So now we do have another data over here. So this one, I want to unselect the months and select the revenue. So over here, we get to know what is the data and so on. And if just say I right click and I sort largest to smallest, so we get to know, okay, like structural and foundation is the one that dominates. So now what I'm going to do next, okay, here we do have this data. I'll just bring the values again one more time. So in this case, we do have the values. This is the second value, and I'll try to bring it one more time. Okay, we have another value over here. So this one, I'm going to press here right click, and then what I'm going to do is I want to go to show value as percentage different from. I click it over here. And instead of base item, I choose previous, I press OK. So in this case, we get to know, all right, so in this company, we do have reduction in February, increase in March, decrease in April and May, and increase again in June. So you can actually select all these, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, less than. So whatever that is less than 0, it indicates there is a reduction, and whatever that is greater than 0, it indicates that means there's an increase. So I'm going to put as green color. So now this is the data. So you can actually rename this. Like for example, I just want to put here total sales. This one I want to put here as the month on month trending. Okay, it's in percentage. So I'm going to put here percentage. And then over here is cumulative. Okay, the cumulative sales. That means from January up to December. So let me just adjust accordingly. Okay, so this one I'll just adjust. Okay, and then right click over here, and then I'll go to show value as, and then I'll just go to running total in, and then I just press OK. So by pressing OK, now we do have this data. It shows us the cumulative, but I need to put in a proper format. So right click this, and then number format, I will just choose accounting, no symbol, and 0 decimal place. Boom. There you go. So now we have this data over here. You can actually change the coloring because there doesn't have to be a light blue. You can choose any color you want, anything that you feel professional, or most important, what your manager likes actually. So I'm going to choose this. So now we do have the month on month trending. You can also do the same thing over here. You can build the values over here, and then over here, what you can do is you can press right click, show value as percentage of grand total. So we can get to understand that about 50%, 52% is dominated by structural. And then if just say we want to get the story behind a number, that means about 80% of the sales comes from standard, precast, custom, and structural. So you can actually rename actually. For example, I'm going to put here total sales. Okay, and then over here, this is the allocation or the apportionment. And you can actually rename this. And you want to choose a different color or you want to maintain the same color is up to you actually. Alright, so now we do have this data. What I want to do next is, wait, let me just auto fit everything. So now we have this data. But if just say my manager wants to know for each revenue group, monthly sales report for each revenue group to include the month on month trending. So in this case, what I can do is the revenue group, I can just drag and put it over here. So once I put it over here, what you can see is you can actually see the performance for each grouping. So for example, like when I go here, like for example, logistic and supporting, you can see what's the performance. So for example, like custom and special precast products, we notice it's a good positive trend except for April. So your manager can actually analyze why there is a reduction for the month of April. But when you look at other products, it's about volatile movement. In other income, volatile. And then when we look at standard, it's a bit mixed and so on. So there is a mixed performance overall. And when we look over here, we can see the data basically. So basically, this is how I use Power Query to perform ETL and pivot table to perform data analysis.